Hey guys, it's Ethan. I have a very big announcement for you. The pod has its very first sponsor. The sponsor of this very episode, in fact, the Big 41, the AMA episode. And it's none other than Clark and Barba, a leather goods company based in LA, started by our friends Silvano and Melissa. And you've probably seen them on the blog before because we collaborated with them to design a fantastic leather tote bag that Spencer and I use literally all the time. I mean, I bring it with me to work, I bring it with me when I go to the coffee shop. It carries everything from my laptop to my camera, to documents, to my lunch, to food, to my water bottle. It's got a pocket on the outside for smaller documents or like my gloves. It also got a pocket on the inside with a magnetic clasp, so I can use it to carry my personal stuff like my wallet, my keys, my glasses, smaller cables, and especially Advil in case I get a headache. You should check it out on clarkandbarba.com. Clark has an E. And you can check out all the leather goods, especially the Ethan and Spencer bag, also known as the Weekender bag. And you can use style and direction all spelled out for 50% off any leather product on their website or Etsy. And speaking of Etsy, they've also started to create face masks in response to the coronavirus pandemic. The unisex masks are cotton and linen, they're machine washable and reusable, and they have pleats for comfortable fit. And the best thing about this part, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is that 25% of the proceeds of their face masks go to the Restaurant Workers Community Foundation for COVID-19 relief. And I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, check it out, Clark and Barba. Check them out on Instagram. Check them out on their website. Again, that's Clark and Barba, Clark with an E, .com. And definitely give them some support or buy one of our tote bags, because I'm looking at my tote bag right now, and if he could talk, he could say buy me. Well, not buy him, because I already bought him. I already have one. But if the other ones that are going to be made by them because it's made to order, if they could talk, then they would say buy me. So check it out. Anyway, let's get on with the AMA. Hey guys, welcome to Style and Direction, a Menswear podcast without the stuffiness. I am Ethan M. Wong.
And I'm Spencer, DSO.
What is I think we talked about what the D stands for.
David Scott Audie. I have two middle names.
David Scott Ackerman.
That's right.
That's you. You. Scott Ackerman.
Yeah. Scottrick.
That's what it is. Scottrick. A comedy bang bang. Sad jokes explained.
Have you seen Cake Boss's TV show where he tries to beat? It's Cake Boss versus like Cupcake King, I think. So it's like classic, classic rivalry. It's like the Montagues and the Capulets. I've only seen one episode where they go to Randy's Donuts and take over it for a day. And I don't really understand how it works, because they act like they were like catering to the morning rush, but they were also making like gourmet donuts, and it took them like 10 minutes per donut. So I don't understand mathematically how that works.
I don't even understand the whole point of...
Cake Boss lost, by the way. He's apparently lost most of them.
Well, he needs more time.
He needs more
That's
time.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
He needs. How much time would you give him? An hour? He needs more time than that, Scott Ackerman. That's just what it is.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever seen a Cake Boss I
don't think I've seen an episode of Cake Boss, but I did watch that Cake Boss versus Cupcake King.
Okay. How did you even find out about it?
It was just on TV. Like, we have the Food Network on, and I'll walk by and I saw Cake Boss. I saw Buddy Velastro, and I was like, "Oh my God, is that Buddy?"
Is that Buddy Velastro, the Cake Boss?
Boss. Cake Boss.
Wow, Cake Boss. Michael Cera. Ooh. You guys gotta watch. Oh, I don't even think it's available anymore because it was kicked off of Netflix.
Oh, it's gone. It's like gone now. Already?
I think at press time it is.
Oh, that's a bummer.
As of June 1st. Speaking of June 1st,
Mad Men's leaving first
today.
Too. Sorry, just want to get your Mad Men and watch before it leaves Netflix.
Well, if it's June 1st, then it's probably gone, right?
I think it's mid-June. I don't remember.
Mid-June. Mid-90s, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, June 1st, that's today, or press time. It's a big day because a lot of things are coming out of the woodwork.
That's
Our
right.
Patreon is now able to be
or it's live.
Patroned for. It's live. I don't know.
It's much easier to say our Patreon is live.
It is patronize us, please.
Yeah.
No, it is really great. We were talking about it before, but now it is officially launched. There are 2 tiers.
Yep.
$5 and $10 each. $5 gets you access to the Discord, which we're gonna have lots of conversations on, cool eBay listings that we find because we are literally on eBay a lot, or when we're like looking at fucking like Drake's or whatever, and some people are like, oh, what do you guys like from Drake's? Well, you're gonna find out because we're gonna post it in there. Movie stuff, because we got some movies on the list that we want to watch, maybe all together. We'll just stream it and probably have extra podcast episodes, which are great, at least once a month. Probably like another AMA stuff like this where we get to answer stuff.
And if we had to like push this episode because we wanted the J Crew episode to come out with it's more topical. The Patreon could be used for that, just stuff that doesn't fit in the regular schedule, but we feel like we have to get it out there.
Exactly. So it's lots of good stuff coming out there, and then the $10 part is just because you love us and you want to give us $10 a month.
Yeah, you don't don't feel pressured to, but if you want to, go ahead. And as we've said before, we're not trying to get rich on the podcast. It costs us about $200 annually to host this. We're just trying to make that $200 back.
Exactly. I mean, nothing's going to change. Even if you don't choose to support us, we hate you. But you'll still get two episodes. Well, not 2 episodes a month. It's one episode every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, the way... I think for June, there's like 3 episodes because there's just that many weeks in
Crazy. So all you June heads, get ready.
Yeah. What's up, all you J heads?
Yeah, you June heads who are like, June's the best month. Yeah. Well, guess what? This year, you're right.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also we're picking sponsors on the pod. I mean, you just heard my copy earlier that I totally made up on the spot. But yeah, if you're interested in that, give us an email, sounddirection@gmail.com. Really great stuff.
Yep.
And to celebrate the launch of our Patreon, this new era of Style and Direction, we decided to have a big AMA that stands for Ask Me Anything.
That's right.
Actually, would it be AUA? Ask Us Anything?
I think it would be AWA. Instead of Amma. Or how about this? Ma, and we watch the movie Ma.
I think I saw a YouTube which was like Ma's kill count. So I guess she kills people in this movie.
Yeah, I don't make Ma drink alone.
Spoilers, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Octavia Spencer, right?
Uh-huh,
yeah.
That's her.
Octavian Spencer. What about like what if she was a Roman?
How about Otto Octavia Spencer?
Is that
anything?
Doctor, I hope it is. I pray that it is.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
But anyway, we get questions all the time, with occasionally I do it on my Instagram when I want to, throw a bone out to the community. Yeah. But no, a lot of our followers ask us stuff, and I thought that'd be cool to have like an avenue for it. We do have the submissions and everything, and we usually answer one or two an episode, but I thought that, again, with the launch of everything that's happening, I think that'd be great to have a whole episode where we address at least as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then extra ones we can do as bonus episodes, for Patreon patrons.
And once again, we're not like taking away any content, if you're not part of the Patreon, so don't worry. But if you do decide to give us $5 a month, you're going to get a bunch of extra cool stuff.
That's right. You'll hear it.
Oh, here's the other thing. If you do decide to do the $10 tier, we will say your name at the end of every episode. So
we will thank you personally.
Yeah, we'll thank you personally. That's the other thing.
Yeah, with tears in our eyes, because
you won't be able to see them because it's a podcast, but we will have tears in our eyes.
Yeah, but just think that I'm crying.
Yeah.
I mean, sad boys. Sad boys. There it is. Hashtag sad boys. Hashtag sadcast. Anyway, let's get on with the AMA. Our first question comes to us from our friend John Greenacre. Speaking of green, I guess. He asked us, what is your ideal bespoke suit? It's a good question, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about this a while. I think I've said this a couple times, but it's like, I don't know, I really like, I really like, like some kind of like the anthologies, like Ivy Cut, with the swelled edges on the jacket, or like Taylor Kade, which
Yeah.
is just essentially like a 60s like sack suit with maybe just a little bit wider lapels, like a couple extra details to make it a little bit more special. But I mean, that's basically
Well, say
it.
like you're building it from scratch, though. You know, what about that?
That I mean, if I'm building it from scratch, okay. If I'm building it from scratch, then in that case, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Bryceland's belt back jacket, which is still one of my favorite cuts. The soft shoulder, of course, it's a belt back, which is super fucking cool. It has the pleated pockets. So okay, yeah, if I'm going fancy, yeah, I'm gonna have a bunch of bells and whistles, like pleated pockets, belt back, stuff like that, you know. But it's still gonna be soft shoulders, still probably gonna be like 3-button or 3-roll too. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm very similar. I mean, the Bryceland's belt back is really cool. We'll have pictures of it in the show notes. And you know, Taylor Kade's really great. I love that. I love Ring Jacket. I love a lot of different stuff. But if I could make it, it would probably be like a Italian inspired 30s Ivy jacket with patch pockets. I don't know if I would do a belt back. I think I would do that for just like a sport coat. But I would have that as a jacket, and then like wide like 40s leg trousers. You know.
Yeah,
I love the aesthetic of like a fitted jacket with wide legs, but I want a soft jacket with wide legs. I think that would be super cool, because the thing about vintage is that a lot of the stuff, when you look at inspiration, it's always going to be like whatever's in that time, right? And now we live in a world where you can combine at will. And I think that one of the inspirations behind this is Arnold Wong, who does like wide legs with Italian tailors, and I think that's super cool. But that's probably what it would be. Swelled edges, probably navy, Crisper for the first one, because I love, or a brown Crisper, because Crisper is an open weave fabric that I already have a suit of, but I just want this with more of my details in it. And then in cottons and flannels and pinstripes and stuff.
Oh, you know what else I love? And this is something that I've had saved on my phone for a while. A brown, like all brown seersucker suit. I don't remember who makes it, but it's something that I have saved on my phone, and it's like 3-roll 2, soft shoulders, wide lapels, all brown seersucker. It's gorgeous. That might be like, if I had to get a bespoke summer suit, that actually might be it.
That's actually pretty dope, actually. Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I feel like I've gotten so close to like an ultimate wardrobe, but then that's also because I haven't done very much bespoke. So it's like, when that happens, which we are not there monetarily.
Yeah.
But that would be cool to aspire to at some point,
Yeah.
Next question. We've got Carl Hurton, who is definitely a friend of the Facebook group, and hopefully maybe a friend of the Discord group, because we're going to launch that.
Sure are.
His question: favorite military clothing item ever? You don't have to already own it. That's a big one.
That is a big one.
I feel like you would like.
Yeah, I mean, it's this. Like a lot. No, I do. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I would have would be like, I'll admit it. I have a lot of like repro, like pieces, but that because a lot of the genuine items are just out of my price range. But I think I would probably want, I don't know, like I've seen like Mitchell camo chore coats. For those of you who don't know, Mitchell camo was used during World War II. And it's very cool. It kind of looks like frog skin, but it has like actual leaf patterns on it. It's like, it's very unique. I'm gonna send it to the Discord, but maybe like, I don't know, maybe like a Mitchell camo chore coat, or like something like that. I'm not sure if those exist, but other than that, just like real versions of the stuff that I already have. Like an authentic version of like the denim shawl collar jacket that I have, which I've broken in. I think it looks really good now, and I still wear it all the time. But I mean, if it was real, that would just be so much cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love the camo monkey pocket army pants that that Kenji has. That would be ultimate because I feel like original vintage camo stuff is so much better than reproduction ones.
Sorry guys,
already
really quick.
And everything.
I lied. Mitchell camo was actually not used during World War II. It was used during Korea and Vietnam. Sorry, gang.
Yeah, hey, at least you caught yourself.
Yeah, at least I caught myself. I think I also made a mistake in like
Ralphed yourself.
I made a mistake in the last episode, I think, when I said like the preppy renaissance was in the late 2010s, but I meant late 2000s. So that's my bad. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, come on, Andy Bernard, okay?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's a good example of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that that would be like the army pants, like with the side, the hip pockets and the monkey back would be really cool to have because I don't own that. I know Spencer, you have like
I have again repros because which I got those I think are from At the Front and they're pretty cheap and I'm very very happy with them.
Yeah. I can't, I don't really look at a lot of military stuff because I already have I would love like a darker camo jungle jacket because mine's kind of faded. It's not the same kind of, it's not as versatile.
I mean, I also still want just like true vintage, like just HBT monkey pants because I do have the frog skin, but the regular navy would be a little bit more versatile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are all cool. I don't really think a lot about military clothing because I prefer tailoring. But yeah, looking at it, I mean, there's nothing I really like need that I'm hunting for because I know that the things I would want are really expensive. But the favorite thing I own would probably be my M43 army pants. Yeah. HBT and olive because those are like my go-to olive chinos, and in fact I'm gonna give up my Gurkhas, olive Gurkhas, because not only are they slightly too small, actually that is why I can't.
That's exactly why.
Yeah, I mean Gurkhas are really hard to wear, like literally, because like they're so the closure is just so complicated, and especially if they're rather fitted, because you can't really have loose Gurkhas. You know what I mean? So the fact that they have to be super snug against your body or your waist, and then add on to the fact that these ones are small, it's just not comfortable. Yeah, they're just not really great to wear. But yeah, that's what that one is. Far Eastern, shout out Far Eastern, who comes in our Twitch. Oh, by the way, guys,
follow
watch our Twitch.
We're gonna be we stream twice a week. I'm like the Bambino over here. I'm gonna call my shot. Right now we are at 46 followers. By the time this episode comes out, I think we'll be affiliate. How exciting!
Affiliate.
That means we're gonna have special.
If we're not,
emotes.
then you can throw tomatoes at us.
Yeah. Good luck though.
Bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, Far Eastern, really great guy, friend on MFA, friend of the the internet, I guess. I keep saying friend of the pod when people aren't friends of the pod. Not yet, at least. But yeah, no, he's been on our stream a lot, probably because the time zone probably works out for him, because we stream at night. But he comes up with a question saying, what common pitfalls do guys make when they are building their wardrobe?
I think the biggest mistake. Question. I think the biggest mistake is they buy stuff they don't like because other people recommend it. Like they'll see on MFA, like this is just an example, but like say someone is getting into it and they don't want to do like the basic bastard, but everyone's like, oh, get kill shots, get Levi's like 511. Are they still recommending 511s over there?
I don't think so. I think now it's 501s again.
Okay, so it's like get wide legs, or it's like oh yeah, like just get kill shots, but really you want a pair of like fucking I don't know, like you want like a pair of Air Force Ones or Jordans or Yeezys, some more unique. But you get the kill shots because MFA says it's good and it's safe, and then you don't like it, and then you get burnt out.
Yeah, I think that's a very big problem that people do. That's because, I mean, I get it, right? You go to a place, you want recommendations. But I think the way you counter that is you have to always gather inspiration first and learn what you like.
No,
but that's hard though. That's like saying, we've said it before, but it's also like, it's hard to like, oh, all you gotta do is develop taste. It's a tall order.
No, and it takes a long time to like build up a big, like, you know, a big collection of like inspiration images. That takes a while too.
Yeah.
And even then, if you don't have the vocabulary, it's so hard to say, to like articulate what it is that you like about things.
That's true. And also, I mean, there's also that aspect, you know, being devil's advocate. It's like, unless you take that first step into it, you won't know what you don't like.
Yeah, so I mean,
so
it's like, I think
hard.
I'm coming.
I mean, you're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, and that's okay. Learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. Another common pitfall. I think that guys definitely think that the context matters way more than it has to. That's not to mean that it doesn't matter at all, but I think that, you know, when I was at a what do you call it? Like a social gathering with those Asian American group. There's a lot, you know, I encounter a lot of people who are, you know, not into menswear, right? And they always ask, hey, Ethan, what's your advice on this or whatever? And a guy was like, I was there wearing a sports shirt and jeans and like a leather jacket and like loafers, and he was like, what would you recommend for a casual outfit? And I'm like, what I'm wearing right now. Like, it's pretty normal. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm a teacher, I couldn't do that. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, teachers wear like t-shirts and jeans. Exactly. Dude, like, there's nothing, you know, like, he has this thing in his mind, like, what a teacher has to wear. And like, even if you think about, like, I even said, like, okay, why don't you wear like a tweed jacket and like a knit tie? It goes like, oh, that's too dressed up. And I'm like, I've seen teachers go both directions.
No, exactly.
Thing,
like,
know?
my cool English
even
teacher
in like college,
wore fucking knit ties all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's kind of like, I think a lot of people, they think they want to dress up, but then they start limiting themselves too
there's
fast.
Like mental barriers, or it's
just it's really hard to break through.
No, yeah, because it's like scary to take a big leap. Like, it's if you don't like really give a shit about like how you look, and then all of a sudden you start caring and you put effort into it, and like, people are, I don't know, I never liked getting a bunch of comments. It's like, wow, you look, you know, like, look at you dressing up. I always felt those were patronizing. So when I was first getting started out, going from wearing like fucking jorts and like graphic tees of Abraham Lincoln as Batman to like wearing, like, I wasn't like, you know, I wasn't like,
what about the coat shirts from Target?
Like, I wasn't, you know, I didn't look like great when I first started dressing up, but it was a little bit of an improvement, and a lot of the early attention I actually didn't like. So I think that's one of the reasons people are just trying to kind of blend in. They want to look good, but not too good that people notice.
Yeah, it's really hard, and you know, Spencer and I are older now, at least definitely compared to when we started, so we don't give a fuck anymore. That's like one good thing. I mean, you just gotta do it. And there, you know, there's no, I think some people wait too long to build their wardrobe. You know, I think that you should do it where you are, because again, any action that you take will further what your personal taste is. And because if you keep waiting until like, oh, well, I don't want to buy a suit until I can afford the bespoke one, there are chances that when you do that bespoke, you're going to regret it later on. I mean, I think everyone regrets like their first ever custom piece of clothing. So it's like, you might as well do it now. Of course, don't overspend.
Like, don't jump into like, don't jump. If your first step shouldn't be jumping into like a, you know, $1,500 bespoke suit, but
yeah,
make the leap eventually. Yeah, because it's like, you know, it's what it was kind of, I said something similar to this on stream, but I think even if you don't really have a developed style, you just instinctually, I mean, you just know what you like. So I think if there's something that really calls out to you, you're probably not gonna, if you think about it, stop and think about it for like a day or two before you buy it. But if after a couple days you still really like it, you're probably not gonna regret it.
If you like it, you should try it.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of the iBrain?
I do have I have the iBrain. I've heard of the iBrain. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. You guys should look that up. Yeah. And then you should look it up and then DM us and tell us what happens when you played it. Play it with your family and just, you know, see what happens. But anyway, thank you, Far Eastern, for that. Don't
play iBrain for your family.
Don't do it. No, I'm telling you to do it. I'm telling you to do it. Next question. It is from Gregory_Caesar. Thank you for the question. It is, how do you style Dapper in hot places like the Inland Empire when it's 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit?
You just kind of have to deal with it,
buddy. You just yeah. Okay, let's just say first off that in the past people wore suits all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, people wore wool suits in summertime. People wore linen suits, cotton suits. They probably did not do the tweed like in The Great Gatsby where they're wearing fucking tweed and it's like July, but people did it. And I think one of the I was talking to some friend, I forgot who it was, who was he was saying how, like, you know, how a tie is very restrictive, right? Like in general, like it's not, what's the purpose, right? It's decorative and you tighten your neck, and he likes that. It's like a masochistic thing, but you know, he embraces the pain, and it's like a part of dressing up.
Yeah.
I think this also was in Dressing Up in a Dress Down World or something like that. I think the Esquire guy, R.I.P. I mean, not R.I.P. Esquire, but he left Esquire.
Yeah.
But he did it. He said that quote. But I think there's a little bit of that. I think that when you really like something, you're gonna wear it, because even if you compare it to like when I'm on MFA and there's like top of July fits or something like that, and people look at it, no matter what the outfit is, someone's gonna go, how are you wearing that? It's so hot. And the guy could be wearing like shorts. Like there is no winning, right? So the best you can do, like with everything else, is just kind of just deal with it.
Because it's like, I mean, you're not going to be as comfortable on a 90-degree day in a suit as you would be in like a t-shirt and shorts. And it's just that's a mental leap that you have to make. You're just never going to be as comfortable.
Also, number one, you don't have to dress up if you don't have
exactly.
to. I mean,
if you don't, you know.
I mean, you know, you're in control of your own life.
If you want to wear a suit, like we said, like look for summer fabrics, like invest in linen suits, seersucker suits. Cotton suits are great.
Cotton suits.
Yeah, exactly.
Crisp air, open weave, that's great.
I think
for jackets, everything.
I think Permanent Style has a good article that probably goes into better detail than this, and essentially he's saying the same thing that we are. Well, he's not saying the same thing as Ethan, because his advice is skip the tie, wear linens, like unstructured jackets, lightweight, you know, like open weave stuff.
You know, it all depends on like the weight of the garments and everything too, because when it's hot outside, I actually prefer to wear Oxford because it drapes, as opposed to broadcloth, which feels a little too like soft, like silky against too fine against my skin, which kind of mixes in with sweat. I don't like doing that. I also prefer wearing cottons because, say, like when you sweat in jeans, they get softer.
Yeah.
But if you wear like wool, you don't have that same effect. So even though, you know, a cotton suit might feel heavier than a wool suit, it will feel better than a wool suit.
Also,
there's
if
like
you
a
can,
couple stuff like that.
if you can, like if you're not buying vintage, chances are you're getting stuff that has a lining. Either try to find a brand that doesn't have full lining, or just take it to a tailor and get him to like cut part of the lining out, like make it like half lined, quarter lined, something like that, because that does make a huge difference. I don't think people realize that, or like how big a difference it can make, but it's huge.
Exactly. And again, you don't have to wear a suit if you don't want to. Like, if you decide to wear a suit on a hot day, just, you know, you got to get through that mental thing. You just got to be like, I'm going to deal with it because I made a choice.
Yeah, like we wore vintage suits to Dapper Day twice a year for like 3 or 4 years. And it's not, I mean, we always had fun, but it's not fun to be wearing vintage suits and vintage shoes walking through Disneyland
if you don't have to, right? I mean, and I think the big thing here is you don't have to be dapper all the time. I think you can be well put together with wearing like a t-shirt and shorts, or an Oxford unbuttoned, untucked with shorts.
Yeah,
because you guys can read the Schoolboy article that I had just uploaded the week before this one in press time.
Okay.
Really great stuff. Next one we have, I don't know how you pronounce this.
Just spell it out.
NTRMN. Hey, NTR. You know what that means.
No.
It's the cucking thing. It's the hentai cuck thing.
Okay.
NTR.
I'm sorry.
that goes for all the H heads out there. You know what you know what I'm saying, boys?
Okay.
He has 2 questions. The first one is, do you like Peaky Blinders? I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's like I don't have an opinion on the show. We have a friend that makes caps that thinks the caps in the show are bad.
Yep. I think we've said that a lot because a lot of people ask us this. I think we've answered this before, but I think they asked it to us again. And the answer is we have never watched the show.
I'm sure it's fine. I have a lot of friends that think it's a good show.
Yeah, I mean, the suits don't look that period accurate. I don't remember seeing people wear like the round top fedoras or like those like I don't know gondola hats that people wear with like overcoats. I've never seen that in pictures. I don't deny that it's happened though. So, I don't know. I know that one of the YouTubers, Demetrius Levi, who I work with for Craftsman, he likes the show. And so I'm assuming it's good. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like
I don't really watch like period drama stuff anyway.
And even if the clothes. I mean, again, I haven't seen enough of the show to even really make that big a judgment on the clothes. Even if the clothes are bad, that doesn't mean the show is bad. Sometimes good things have bad period costuming, and that's okay.
What about bad shows with bad costuming, like Hollywood or something?
I really did not like Ryan Murphy's Hollywood as a show, but I showed a friend of it because I knew that it was the specific thing that she would also hate. The first like 2 episodes, and my second watch when I was less mad at it, I was like, yeah, actually the costumes are pretty good. I think whoever is Ryan Murphy's usual costume designer does a really good job with period stuff generally, especially for TV.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not familiar. What else has Ryan Murphy done?
He's done like American Horror Story, and a lot of that either has flashbacks or like a couple seasons are set in like the 50s and 60s. He did Feud, which was set in the early 60s, but he did American Crime Story, but that was just like 90s stuff, so it looked fine.
Right. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, maybe I have to watch it on like a lazy day or something.
Yeah.
And his second question is, what does the home screen of your phone look like?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was gonna figure out the name.
That's a fun question. I like when people ask us like non-menswear stuff because we're people too. We don't just drink Negronis and watch the Criterion Collection. Spencer, what's on yours?
So mine, I always try to like make my lock screens kind of like complement each other. So the ones that I have are 2 pieces from this 1980s like Japanese artist. Damn it, they actually might be 2 artists. I wish I had like the information saved somewhere, but they're just kind of like vaguely, I don't want to say vaporwave because I feel like that's like fucking like cliche, but it's just this cool like idyllic LA looking scene at night, and it's very summery. It's fun, and it doesn't like get in the way of my my apps, which is a big deal. I don't like having a cluttered background.
Okay, yeah. So they're both related for like your lock screen and your home
exactly screen? They're not the same image, but they like complement each other.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I usually put my work as and my work I mean like my paintings or photographs as my home and lock screen. Currently, my lock screen is also kind of vaporwave. It is a film picture I took of some light, like geometric, like cubes or whatever in like orange. It looks cool, but it is actually a cabinet for a rhythm game in an arcade.
Okay.
And it's not as cool, but I mean when you look at it, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then the actual home screen is a close up of one of my paintings. It's one of my favorite ones actually. It's the black. It's like black and blue, like falling shapes and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's kind of faded. It's really awesome. I don't title my paintings. So this is like Untitled 5 if you count like whichever one it came down in the pipeline. But yeah, I think it's really cool. Just I mean, no one really looks at my phone like
except you.
Like before except me, right? I mean, I never was the guy who put like my girlfriend on my lock screen or something.
Mm-hmm. You know what?
No one was worth it.
Maybe I'll change my lock screen. I like changing my lock screen like every once in a while, like every couple months. I haven't done that in like a year though.
Wow.
I am pretty picky when it comes. I'm pretty picky when it comes to like wallpapers and lock screens. I'm still looking for a good one for like I'm still trying to find the perfect one for my desktop.
See, I've never done one for like like a fandom thing. It's always been something
Yeah,
I've taken
I don't.
a
Yeah, I
picture
don't
of
like.
or
I don't.
painted.
I'm not gonna do a fandom thing. I want it to be either just something personal or like a picture that I think is cool to look at. But I feel like if it's a fandom thing, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I just don't like making a fandom like my identity.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. So although I would say there are some, cool Star Wars ones that I have entertained, or even like Lawrence Fellows illustrations.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, I don't want to lean too far into the menswear or the Star Wars thing too much, so I get that. From Shifu L. Samuel, or Shifu Samuel, will vintage ever die?
No, but people are going to be buying like different stuff. Like I mean, it's like the market's just going to dry up of stuff from the 20s and 30s eventually. Either because it's not going to ever completely dry up, but it's like, it's like pretty rare to see stuff from the 19th century in antique shops. And unfortunately, eventually the stuff that we like is going to be like that. It's like, wow, can you believe they have something back from like 1932 here? But people are still going to be buying vintage clothing. That people have been doing that like forever.
Yeah, I forgot when it was. I think it was like what, like
the 50s or 60s.
Like...
I was. Who was I talking to about this? It might have been producer Matt. Don't get on mic, but message us if it was me telling you about this. But the vintage scene started. I'm just going to do a quick rundown because in the 50s, I might be getting the details wrong, but I believe it was this woman she went to one of her relatives had like an old clothing store that like shut down or something like that, and he was like, hey, do you want to like look through the stuff that I have, see if there's anything cool? And she found a bunch of 1920s raccoon coats.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so she like started selling them to her friends, and eventually, again, might be getting some of the details wrong, I believe that they opened a store like in New York, and that was like the first what we today would call a vintage store.
Yeah, curated vintage, not
exactly.
Like a thrift store.
Yeah.
But that's
there's a really interesting article about it that I linked to someone, whoever I was talking to, and we'll include that in the show notes, I guess.
Yeah. I think there's a really good article from Permanent Style. He's been writing a lot about vintage clothing a little bit lately. And there's a distinction to make between thrifting and vintage. And even then, there's a lot of like smaller terms. Because like thrifting could mean like going to a thrift store or a charity shop, as our cousins across the pond would say. There's also the fact that, you could find really cool stuff at thrift stores. There's also finding really cheap shit at thrift stores. There's also curated vintage. There's also the fact that vintage could be 90s stuff now. So there's a lot of different areas in this, and that I think that vintage will definitely never die, because to me vintage means everything from actual 30s to 80s stuff to even secondhand pre-owned clothing, like like a vintage Orazio jacket from 1990 or so. I don't know how long they've been in business, but that's also going to be a thing, and people will continually buy it, because not everyone can be rich enough to buy new things.
And also like people think old clothes look cool. That's why like every new fashion trend is usually some like variation on something that's come before it, because people look at old photos,
right,
or they see someone wearing a vintage piece and says, that's cool, I want to have something like that, or like I'm going to make something like that.
Yep. Yeah. I think that is definitely the case, and I think that the next bubble or the next big fad is definitely going to be vintage. We already see it, like Spencer said, in terms of design, but a lot of kids today are thrifting. Might not be tailoring.
No, yeah. Every time you fucking go to like a Goodwill happening. Now, you see a bunch of like hip high schoolers running around. This is a weird conversation that I'm having. I don't want to talk about hip high schoolers anymore, but they're there.
Yeah, but the thing is that people are buying secondhand and going on eBay again, and that is, I believe, is going to be like the next big bubble. I think that it might even get to be as big, because even there are certain designers, I think mainly for streetwear, that they hold on to some of their older pieces and then they re-release them. Like,
but I mean, we're probably not talking about the same.
That collection.
You're probably not talking about the same kind of vintage that he is.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that vintage.
Like the
Oh,
the
you're talking
vintage
about
market.
like vintage style.
Like I'm talking about like
Oh.
like 1930s, 1940s suits. That's golden age stuff is not going to be like a big bubble.
Oh, I think that's already dying already.
Yeah,
man.
no, exactly. Yeah. Like I don't think it was.
I don't want to say this as like the guys who like because I think before when the blog first started, I would tell people to go to like all these vintage stuff, and now I'm telling people like go on eBay to buy 60 stuff, and then eventually it's going to be buying Drake's Anglo-Italian, J Muser, J
because
PJT stuff.
Because if you're asking specifically about the like golden age, like vintage scene, I mean, yeah, that peaked in the 90s, like with the swing revival, and it's been going downhill ever since. Like people,
they complain all the time.
Yeah, they talk about it's like, oh, remember the 90s? Remember the 90s, man? There's
mid 90s.
There's one guy, I won't name names, and I'm not worried about him getting mad at us because no way he listens to the pod. But there's one guy who's like normally like a very kind of like serious, grounded guy, but every once in a while he's like, yeah, there was so much sex in the 90s. Everyone was having orgies and vintage ties were just everywhere. It's like we would fuck each other on the dance floor. It's like, it's so weird to hear him talk like that.
Yeah. So again, I don't that's not related to the question.
I know. I just wanted to talk about vintage. I just wanted to talk about that.
He's a horny guy.
He is a horny guy.
The funny thing is, I don't know why he keeps. This is just like a peek, but below the surface. But I saw him. He posted something in Ivy Style about how Mr. Mort is making shirts, and the tag that Mr. Mort does is definitely in the same vein as the Brooks Brothers. The classic circle, Brooks Brothers makers, whatever. And some guy was some younger guys in Ivy Style. Power to them. He's like, oh yeah, Mr. Mort's like a legend. He goes, well, what makes them a legend? like come on, dude. Like, I mean, I get it. Ivy's changing, but everything is changing. So I don't think vintage in general will ever die. I mean, I still fight for the style and the ideals, not of vintage people, but like, spear point collar shirts, collar bars, fun foulard ties. I think that will still survive as long as I'm alive and continue to write. But I think the market and the general enthusiasm of it is definitely going down. I mean, even you look at like Dapper Day and you look at like Justin Jorgensen, who started it, after looking at the 50s, he prefers like more couture now, or even like getting Edward Sexton suits. It's less of that nostalgia and more so about just personal style, which is great. And hopefully, again, like I said, people who find the personal style, I think that if more people can look to the past and bring it, I think vintage won't die completely.
Yeah, if you want to keep wearing 30s and 40s suits, go ahead. If you want to just take inspiration from it, go ahead. That's gonna be
or rip out the fucking shoulder pads. That is what I did for the ones that I decided to keep.
And but it's like just wear whatever you want. I think.
Yeah.
We always say this, but it's important.
Yeah. This is from Alberto Rossini. Creepers or edgy loafers? P.S. You're my vintage inspiration. Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
I'm glad. Well, he sent this to me, so
okay, whatever.
Just saying. I don't wear creepers, but I think I would feel more comfortable with like edgy loafers, like the boot stuff.
Yeah, or maybe, like the Doc Marten tassel loafers that. That Johnny at J. Crew has. Those are great.
Yeah, I think that creepers are a little bit too much. Again, I'm not as into like 50s or 60s like subculture stuff. Like I also don't really like wearing the Italian knit stuff that Scott Fraser Simpson makes, just because I feel like it's a little too. It's just not my thing. I like like everyday Ivy kind of stuff. So creepers kind of get a little too far into that. Yeah. But I've seen friends have. I mean, like our friends Garrett and Garrett and Josh, they wear like funky ass loafers, edgy stuff all the time, and I think they pull it off a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of creepers, just because I'm not like a huge fan of the rockabilly look.
Creepy.
If you want to go for like kind of like it's not rockabilly. I think there's a difference. I've said it before. The 50s
Teddy boy.
No, 50s like con man or whatever, like kind of sleazy. Oh. Like 50s vibes. I think rather than creepers, what you could do with that is either wear like spectators. Or just like I don't know, two-tone loafers seem good for that. Like,
yeah, two-tone loafers and two-tone derbies, like saddle shoes, I think are much more wearable in general than like spectator shoes. Although I would love to have them like in the future at some point, but I don't know if I can. Because
like GH Bass makes like a pretty good black and white loafer that I've considered.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it's like $90 or something like that. So that's, I mean, again, I've considered it. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Julius Viggo Mortensen. He says,
Green
"How
Book.
do you get?" Yeah, Green Book. How do you get into the business side of the menswear world? Excuse me. All right, take a shot.
Jesus.
This is hard because we were talking about this with our friends, where a lot of like getting into menswear is just kind of being at the right place at the right time, and it takes a lot of like making connections and hopefully the person takes a chance on you.
I mean, it also
you could look into that.
It really depends on what you're trying to do in the menswear world too, because being a designer or a tailor is going to be a lot different than working at a shop or like doing marketing or whatever.
Yeah, and I think if you're talking about like business side, I'm assuming you mean like corporate, maybe like like e-commerce management. I think a lot of the stuff, at least from what I've seen, is you have to work in it beforehand, and then you shop at the places, and then when they need help, you just offer to help them, and then you eventually work there or something. Because I'm pretty sure that's what happened with the Armory, because they have like an e-commerce guy, and it kind of just worked out. Or you become a shop guy. You have to do the retail sales, you have to clean up the store, do the events and everything, but just work hard and try and get involved as much stuff as possible, right? So if you like photography, maybe try and do some of that, ask to do the copywriting, so maybe you could do the marketing. Or if you're interested in like packing the stuff up, maybe eventually you can be in charge of it, and then you'll be in charge of like shipping, or you do the wholesale or something like that. At the menswear world, it's definitely a little bit like old school. There's a lot of that whole idea of like work from the bottom. I don't think that necessarily like this is all just conjecture, because I think everyone's story is a little bit different, but it doesn't always have to be like go to school for this, but it's a lot about putting in the work and showing the effort. And that could be for anything, honestly, but I think menswear, there's a lot, because everyone has a varied background. Some people grew up as tailors, some people did designer, some people bought into it, some people became amateur photographers and became big. It's just
they became big. They wished at the Zoltar machine to become big, and then they woke up and they were Tom Hanks.
They secreted it. They secreted it.
Okay.
Have you guys read the book The Secret? You just will it into existence.
They secreted it. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's basically what I've kind of gathered. Again, it's if you were lucky to get into it and you've put not just put the work, but show the effort, show the interest, I think, and if you work with a good company, they'll hopefully take a chance on you. And his second question is how to keep your suits pressed without using the cleaners all the time. I just don't use the cleaners all the time. That is the answer.
Like if
I hang up my pants as soon as I'm done with them, I guess.
Yeah, like just keep everything hung up. If you have a steamer and an iron, you're good. Like it might not look.
I don't even touch up that often either.
No, neither do I. Like as long, because it's like if you leave a suit hanging for a couple days, a lot of those wrinkles will fall out. So it's different if you
make sure when you hang it. Yeah.
Just make sure it's different if you're wearing. If you have one suit that you have to wear all week, then it's going to be different. But if you're rotating or don't wear your suit every day, then just hanging it's going to look fresh for a couple wears. Yeah.
And again, hang it up properly, make sure you don't just like, cast them on and just haphazardly do it. Make sure when you fold them onto your hanger that they are done on the seams or the creases, and then you'll, leave it for a day and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Or try and get, fabrics that retain stuff. Like open weave wools retain their creases very well. So yeah, it's just kind of just luck and everything. And even then, I don't really care about creases that much. I mean, I'm wearing a cotton suit right now. We didn't get to talk about what you're wearing today, but I'm wearing a cotton suit.
Nice.
And I'm pretty sure that the crease is still the center crease in the trousers is barely there, but it's fine because it's a cotton suit. It doesn't have to always be pressed all the time and everything.
Yeah.
Next question. How are we doing on time here? Oh, we got time. If cost were not an issue, what shoes, suits, and shirts would you buy and wear?
This is kind of similar. I mean, like shoes, Alden's. Like, would you go if money were not an object? Would you go like better than Alden's, or would you just stick with them?
I'm very hesitant. I think the thing that Spencer and I, because we are not rich menswear guys, or we weren't lawyers when we got into this, we're pretty careful about what we spend our money on. So when I say like Alden's, it's not that I don't want to try anything better. It's just that I've spent so much money already into Alden's that I know it works for me.
And I mean, it's like I also just
even if I
if
I had the extra money, it would be scared to like expand onto other stuff.
Yeah.
So. But if I don't have that, maybe Crockett and Jones, maybe. St. Crispin's would be cool. I don't really like a lot of Japanese shoemakers, not because they're not great. It's just I think that the lasts are a little bit too sharp for me.
Yeah,
that's one thing there.
Yeah, I guess Alden or Crockett and Jones. Those are the two like high end shoe brands that I really like.
I mean, there's like John Lobb. And stuff
of
too,
course,
right?
yeah. So. There's a lot of options. Suits. I mean, I think we'd both go. We answered what our like ideal like bespoke suit would look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Taylor Kade, stuff like that. And again, I think I would get my shirt from Ascot Chang forever. I don't really think I need to go anywhere else. And I think that if you listen to this, I have preached Ascot Chang enough to you guys.
Great shirts.
Yeah. So here's something that's kind of similar. I'm going to jump to someone else's question. This is by a dumb John.
Okay.
Three shoes each of us could not go without.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming this means both dress shoes, and so we can't just pick 3 dress shoes, 3 casual shoes. I think it's just everything. So what do you think?
Okay, then I think I would say if I had to just pick 3 shoes, I think I would do my penny loafers because I wear those both casually and dressed up all the time. And I don't know. I really like having a pair of penny loafers to fall back on because I think they're just so easy to wear. Then I think, I don't know, I would probably pick a pair of like white Converse. I don't know if I would want to do like the high top or low top because I just got a pair of vintage high tops from our friend Doug and I've been wearing those all the time now. Used to not be a huge fan of high tops, but a pair of white like All Stars. And then I don't know, I would probably want a black shoe. Maybe a pair of black Oxfords. Just so I have them.
So you have them, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I would do shell cordovan tassel loafers because I would wear those all the time, more so than penny loafers. I would also wear black Chelsea boots a lot. That would be my black shoe. And then I would have my Vans white Authentics because I think I wear those way more than my Converse.
Yeah.
And those are also literally like the shoes I wear all the time. So those would be my three shoes. Okay, let's come up with the next one. From Lord Byron 1. What do you find in French ivy you don't find elsewhere? Now, French ivy is something that we haven't really thought of a lot.
No, I mean, I don't,
because we are so American and everything. I think that, what's it called? What's his name? Dick Carroll.
Yeah, he had a great,
fantastic,
great comic about that.
Yeah, he's always like on the search of like different ivy as well, right?
Yeah, I always think of like French ivy as maybe like a little like it's still like very nonchalant, but I think it's just a little bit more like put together than American ivy, or at least put together in different ways. I don't know. I have, as you said, I haven't spent a whole lot of time thinking about French ivy. And I can't really think of many examples other than that comic.
I feel like French ivy to me is just how the French interpret American menswear.
Yeah.
I think that's just what it is. I don't think because
it's like I don't think of
lost. I mean, even the way I use ivy now, it's not like it's. I guess it might not be correct for some things that I use it for because I think some people say ivy is not preppy and blah 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 blah. So. But I think in terms of French Ivy, it's not really that Ivy when you think about it. Like wearing black shoes with like white socks and jeans, that's kind of like a mod thing when you think about it.
I mean, it's very like, I don't know, like kind of mid-century, like continental style is generally what I think of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of black shoes, more so than, burgundy or brownish shell cordovan. A lot of like light washed jeans, a lot of reds, a lot of pops of color. Lots of messy hair and everything. Again, those are like things that inherently don't feel very different, but clearly the French, they kind of co-opted it. I think, look up like Gauthier Borsarello, of like L'Etiquette magazine. I think he probably does it the best because he likes vintage. It's like a very vintage, kind of sexy, kind of rock and roll, kind of Ivy.
No, yeah, rock and roll is a good way to pay it. Like, yeah, that's like 60s rocker kind of look.
Yeah, 60s rocker with some elements of trad, I guess, and lots of black shoes.
Yeah,
I think, and white socks would be it. But yeah, that's what French Ivy to us is. Maybe in the future, if I explored it, we could do a whole podcast, maybe at least a blog post or some bonus content for the Patreon.
BoneCon.
BoneCon.
It's like SpawnCon, but different.
Yeah. BoneCon is where it's
that's like the bone convention. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's where the bones are their money. So they pay with bones to get into BoneCon.
So are worms.
So are worms, and be careful. Yep. They're gonna pull your hair up, but not out.
You guys gotta watch. If you guys haven't watched, I think you should leave. Please do.
Yeah, I think one of the worst things that's like because of like quarantine and COVID, other than like the thousands of people that have died, is the fact that they had to postpone production on I Think You Should Leave season 2. That was such a bummer. I was looking. That was like all of last year. I was like, listen, things might not be looking so rosy now, but come March of next year. March 2020, when I get season 2 of I Think You Should Leave, it's gonna be so good. And look what they've taken from me.
Look what you did.
Yeah.
Oh, Spencer. Okay, we got a little bit of time for a couple more here. From Mr. July 5, how to match suspenders with the rest of your outfit.
I mean, I've always had like 2 pairs of suspenders, one pair with brown leather and one pair with black leather. And that's
so it's based on the shoe choice.
That's it. Because suspenders, they're supposed to be underwear. Like both of the suspenders that I don't wear suspenders much anymore, but the ones that I did wear, they were both striped. But I mean, they're supposed to be underwear. So it like, I'm matching it.
Doesn't really matter what's
matching it is like less important. Yeah.
In fact, I like wearing, plain ones with plain shirts, and then like patterned ones with striped shirts, because I kind of like that whole Niles Crane, like the weird novelty, like not novelty like the bad, but like the like with like
I kind of want a pair of I want a pair of Trafalgar.
No, I do too. I love that look with like a fun tie with like a DB suit. I think that's really sick. And then now we've got 3 questions from Al Dente, except with instead of an E, it's a 3, and I think that will take us through the rest of the episode.
Yeah. Do you want to start with? Let's start. What? Do you want to start with the second 2, or I don't know? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through it.
Okay.
How do you see the difference between 50s and 60s tailoring?
I think in our group chat you summed it up really well. Where generally 50s and 60s tailoring is both pretty boxy, but 60s tailoring just has softer shoulders.
Yeah, and it really depends which part you're talking about, because like a late 50s could be early 60s or whatever, right? Like that's.
I mean, it's like what you should do is like watch like, I don't know, like you could watch, what year did North by Northwest come out? 1959. So watch like North by Northwest, look at all the suits that people are wearing in that movie, and a lot of the non-Cary Grant guys are going to be wearing suits from earlier in the 50s or more conservative suits with a lot more padding. And then watch a movie from like 1963 or 1964. Everyone's going to be wearing stuff that's a lot slimmer, a lot less padding, but it's still going to be pretty boxy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Trousers too. Trousers are slimmer in the 60s and the 50s, but that's kind of just basically what it is. To me, Super 50s is like atomic fleck, boxy, bold stuff.
Yeah.
And 2060s is like ivy or whatever. And then of course you go later on in those decades, you get more bolder or transitional.
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, there's there's not going to be a huge difference between like a suit from 1958 and a suit from 1961. But if you look at a picture of like a small town, like just an American town in 1950 and an American town in 1960, you're going to see like people are wearing like very different clothes.
Yeah. Exactly. How do you successfully do separates, materials, colors, and cuts specifically?
I think that's
how do you do separates?
I mean, that's just something that I think you kind of learn. Like early on, I don't know, very early on, I wore a lot of like really matchy outfits because like I was still trying to like figure out what colors went with what, but it's just something that you kind of get better at innately, like after practice.
Yeah. I think that separates are great to like use. It's just colors that you feel like wearing.
Or also again, like steel outfits. Like it's like, oh, you could see it's like, oh, this guy's on Instagram is wearing an interesting color combination. It's similar to two things that I haven't worn together. Well, now that's like a new option for you. You could wear those two things together.
Yeah. And I think sometimes a lot of the stuff is based on what sport coat you want to wear, and then you wear a pair of trousers that help tone down that sport coat. Mm-hmm. That's why it's a lot of like gray trousers, khakis, browns, dark browns. It's just really easy when you think of it that way. And then I just think of what fun tie could go with it.
Exactly.
And especially if your wardrobe is like blue stripes or red stripes or whatever,
mm-hmm.
And like rep ties and black knits and everything, separates aren't going to be that hard. No. I think when you get more stuff, it gets a little bit harder. But if you have good taste and a good mind for it, I think that separates isn't that hard. I think
no, and I always
you just got to do it.
Yeah,
it's easy.
Exactly.
And the last question we're going to answer here on the podcast is: have you developed a uniform, and is this something you strive toward? I would point you to the episode with Aldris, which is a great episode, and it covers that very thing.
Yeah.
But that was like 2 years ago. Spencer,
that was
what do you
a while
think now?
ago. I mean, it's like I think
it's been a while.
It's been a while. I think I've probably said the same thing in that episode, where I don't have like a uniform in that like I wear the same thing every day. Like I don't wear a blue Oxford with like olive chinos and like white sneakers, but I do have kind of stuff that I like gravitate towards, especially now where it's like I still like wear stuff that I like, but if I know that I'm not going to be going anywhere, or if I know I'm just going to be like doing some random work projects, it's like I'll just go like a big Oxford and then like comfortable jeans, and that's like my quarantine uniform. But it's like not something that I consciously do. It's like, okay, like I'm taking all the decisions out of my life. Like I'm making my life so efficient by wearing one thing every day. It's just like,
we talk about this a lot with like the tech
mm-hmm.
the tech bro kind of thing about trying to be some inhuman, overly efficient guy. I think that's not a fun way to approach fashion. But for me, I think that my uniform is fun ties, striped shirts, and navy suits, brown
mm-hmm.
suits, or a brown check or some kind of check jacket with like a separate. That's the extent of my uniform.
Exactly.
I think that I've already achieved it. I already know what looks good on me and what color combinations I like.
Yeah, so I don't.
But it's not like there is not going to be an ultimate like.
It's not something
this is it.
Strive toward.
Be the same thing all the time.
Yeah, it's not something you're going to strive toward. It's something that's probably eventually going to happen. And again, it's not going to be that you wear the same 3 pieces every day, but there is a through line in like your outfits.
Yes, exactly. That is, excuse me, God, take another shot, guys. That is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Actually, we have time for one last one.
Okay.
Eagle Lives, I don't know. Eagle says, not a question, but love the podcast. Big love from England.
Thank you, England.
Thank you. That makes thanks. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for the support, and hopefully you guys really enjoyed this AMA episode. I mean, I thought
that was a great
lot, but I think
that last question, lot of good discussion on that final question.
Well, yeah.
I mean it's like no, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for listening. I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of us.
Yeah. I mean, again, I thought that we would go through a lot of questions here, but I think each one were all great. This is one reason why we decided we want to do the Patreon, because there's a lot of great questions that we get that we just don't. We unfortunately don't have a lot of time.
Yeah,
for. We also know that not many people stay listening to the podcast past an hour, which is why we stopped doing the 2-hour episodes.
But yeah, I'm looking through this doc that has all the questions. Boy, there's some good ones that are going to come up in the Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we're gonna put some out for bonus stuff as well, so you don't feel left out. But
and don't worry, we're still gonna be we're still
Patreon.
Gonna be doing like 1 or 2 questions every episode. But if you like this episode and want more of it, or again, we're new to this whole Patreon. If there's some other bonus content that you like, let us know what we could do.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course, with the Discord, that is the big draw of the Patreon.
Yeah, we're in it right now.
Straight up ask us stuff. Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna type in the general. I'm gonna say hello. Hello. There it is.
Hello. You're gonna see it. Well, okay, it's not press time because we're doing this 2 weeks before.
When you guys join, you're gonna see this hello, and you're gonna know when it was posted.
Exactly. A little peek behind the curtain. But you're going to see all that stuff because we're going to let you guys listen to this in advance, in early episodes, early releases and stuff like that. It's going to be really great.
Yep.
So get ready for that. And that brings us to one final read for our sponsor of the podcast, Clark and Barba.
That's right. And so as Ethan,
leather goods company.
As Ethan said in the beginning, we both have bags from them. They specially made bags for us. We helped design them. It's the Spencer and the Ethan bag, and I think the Spencer bag is also called the Weekender because it fits more stuff.
Yeah, I think they're both just called that.
Okay. Well, anyway, really great bags. As Ethan said, both we use them all the time. I always keep I keep a book, a charger in there. Super convenient. I just keep it in my car and just bring it with me all the time. But anyway, go ahead, go to their website, check that out. And if you use the code STYLE...
clarkandbarba.com.
clarkandbarba.com. If you use the code STYLE and DIRECTION, all spelled out, you get 15% off on all leather products. That is the big 15. And that works on their website or Etsy. And don't forget, they are also making masks right now. Everyone needs a mask, at least in Los Angeles County. And if you need,
which is where they make them.
Exactly, homemade in LA. They're unisex. One size fits all. And 25% of all mask sales will be donated to the Restaurants and Workers Community Foundation's COVID-19 relief funds. Isn't that cool? Restaurants are struggling right now. Buy a mask, protect yourself, help out your local favorite restaurants. clarkandbarba.com. Great bags.
Great bags, great leather goods, good masks, and again, style and direction all spelled out for 15% off the leather goods.
Yeah. If you own a brand and liked that ad read or liked the one before...
give us money.
Email us at Style and Direction, all spelled out. That is also regular listeners can email us with questions or comments.
styleanddirection@gmail.com.
Yep, all spelled out.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you want to follow the podcast, because we are posting a lot more stuff on Instagram, you can do it at Style and Direction, all spelled out. That is on Instagram. My Instagram is at Ethan M. Wong.
I'm at Spencer DSO.
And big thank you to MJ and Matt for producing the podcast.
Yeah, don't forget.
Please do not get on mic.
Please.
I swear to God.
Please leave us 5 stars on iTunes. Are we still at 4.5 right now or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened.
We're trying to bump it back up to 5. If you leave us a review, that really helps. That's we don't really do any advertising, so word of mouth is the only way for this podcast to get out there.
Yes.
Leave us a review, rate us on iTunes, follow us on Twitch. Is there any other housekeeping things that we need to do?
Nope. Patreon's good.
YouTube,
good.
We're uploading all the episodes to YouTube, as well as some random Twitch highlights. Again, no immediate plans.
Oh yeah, if you want to see weird videos of me telling stories, that's what the Twitch is.
Yeah, but
and the YouTube.
Yeah, no immediate plans, but maybe we'll have video content in the future. Subscribe to the YouTube to get ready for that.
Yep. There we go. We will see you guys in the next one.
Bye-bye.